John Gregory Dunne has used fact and fiction to explore the American scene with a particular regard to his own Irish roots. He has collaborated in life and art with his wife, Joan Didion, co-authoring screenplays ranging from The Panic in Needle Park to True Confessions, and we're pleased to have him join us this evening. Let me just ask first, why the two of you who wrote, what was it you wrote, Notes from Los Angeles? What was the name of the thing, joint column you used to write?
Points West.
Points West, right. I somehow thought of you as a journalistic couple in Los Angeles, living in Malibu, right?
Part of the time.
Part of the time in Malibu.
Yeah. And all of a sudden,
Hollywood,
Brentwood. All of a sudden, and actually, in fact, you lived, one of our guests coming on after this is Frances Lear, and she and Norman Lear, you were neighbors in Brentwood?
Across the street, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You go to movies at their house and all this? Mm-hmm. Why'd you come back to New York City after, what, 20-some years there? You went out in 64?
Years. Yeah, 24
I know
years.
you went out because you missed it, right? In part.
We went out, I think, in part because I missed it, but it was just a whim to go out.
It was a whim to go out, and it was a whim to come back. It was, I suppose, if either one of us had been working on something, a book or something very seriously, that we wouldn't have come back. We felt that we'd spent too long at the fair, and it was time to come.
What does that mean, spent too long at the fair?
Well, I'd written, I suppose, 7 or 8 books with Los Angeles sort of settings. I felt I really didn't have anything more to say about it. And then, of course, I come back to New York, and I've written three things about Los Angeles since I came back. It gave me a different perspective on it. Yeah.
I didn't realize how beautiful, the whole time we lived there, I never thought of it as beautiful, Los Angeles. I didn't realize how beautiful it was till we moved. The first time I went back, I was really...
What you always said it was because I always drove.
I think that's
and
right.
When Joan went out and to do some reporting for the New Yorker, she drove for the first time by herself and you can only see Los Angeles by driving.
Yeah, you did that thing on public television, in which a lot of the time you're in the bus or you're driving around from neighborhood to neighborhood looking.
That's right.
At Los Angeles. Do you miss it?
I miss it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you unhappy here?
Oh,
I mean,
no,
are you happy to be back here?
I love it here.
Yeah, I love it here.
But I also love it there.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I love Los Angeles more than any city that I will ever know. I mean,
why?
I really.
Not that you shouldn't, but why?
The vastness of it. It's the sense of being thrust upon yourself. It's the sense of being in a car all the time. And a car is oddly enough strangely liberating, because you take a car to go get your watch fixed, and you're sort of sitting there with the music on, and especially if you're a writer, you think, and you can, and it's very involving, and you have a kind of dispensation from normal life in a car.
Yeah.
Now they say that in the East that you get the stuff about picking up vibrations on the street, but of course, how many vibrations did William Faulkner pick up in Oxford, Mississippi? You know, he didn't have all that street life there. Yeah. I don't think you need it. I think that you pick up your vibrations such as they are.
Big differences between New York and Los Angeles. It was when Bill Lynch was talking earlier about preparations. You know, when they put this plan into effect and called up people in various neighborhoods.
Right.
Yeah. And, well, you can do that in New York. Everybody's more or less, you can find somebody in every neighborhood who's more or less on the same page you are, whether they agree with what's on the page or not. They're reading the same page. That's not true in Los Angeles. I mean, that's a radically different, it's a radically different kind of city.
Yeah. Is Los Angeles still, and certainly Southern California, you know, the old notion that, you know, if you want to see the future, it arrives first in Los Angeles?
We never thought that.
We never thought that. We've always thought of it as the first city of Pacifica, that the country is looking towards the east or towards the far east, and we have more trade now with the Pacific nations than we have with Europe. Yeah. I always was uncomfortable with the idea of Los Angeles as a utopia.
But what about on the edge? I mean, as
yeah.
as setting the style.
Well, we
No,
thought
I always thought it was nonsense. I always thought it was kind of an Eastern tick.
What do you mean? An
Well,
Eastern
that
tick?
it was the land of fruitcakes and fruitcake religions, and you know, and you know all that junk. And until this week, for the last 27 years, people, when they think of Los Angeles, they usually thought that it radiated out from the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Yeah.
And actually, it's a city that in which the Anglos are a minority, and not even the largest minority. I think there's 37% Anglo.
What's the largest minority?
Hispanic.
Hispanic,
which
and
is
second,
40%.
yeah. And what's
Asian.
an Asian? A second,
Yeah,
right?
no, the Anglos are second.
No,
And Asians are third.
Yeah.
No, blacks are third,
And Asians are fourth.
Yeah.
Oh, wait now. The Asians are only 10 or 11%.
Yeah, and in the Los Angeles school system, the first name of choice, or the first name of most children is Jose.
You like the LA Times?
Love it.
Joan?
I'm crazy about that paper.
Crazy about it.
Crazy about it, yeah.
I once said to a former editor of the New York Times, he said, what are the three best newspapers in the country? And I said, the Los Angeles Times, Miami Herald, and you named the third. And he didn't like that at all.
Let me just talk before we go on. They're waving me off here, but let me just, you mentioned, because here's a picture of President Bush in Friday's New York Times, Friday, May 8th. In Los Angeles yesterday, President Bush passed the burned out Crenshaw Town Center with John Max, an Urban League official, and Derek Carter, sports shirt manager of a grocery store. And you mentioned he was riding. What did you say? What was the image?
I just caught a little minute of the news tonight, but there he was in a long black limousine driving through, and people were looking and sort of waving, and he was waving.
And it was almost sort of this regal thing, and you wonder what it was like. Just this image of this regal wave.
Not exactly the common touch.
Not exactly the common touch.
Yeah. You must both come back. Would you come back?
Love it.
Sometime. Love to have you. Regarding Henry, don't leave yet, Joan, is Joan Didion's book, collection of essays, appeared in the New Yorker, appeared in the New York Book Review of Books, and where else?
And that's it.
That's it. Okay. If you didn't read them there, you can read them here. I thank you, Joan. Always good to see you. When we return, Frances Lear will be here, and she'll talk about defying stereotypes. You know her. She's the founder of Lear magazine. Back in a moment.